Technology powers nearly every part of modern life. From smartphones and laptops to televisions, appliances, and business equipment, electronics have become essential tools for communication, productivity, and entertainment. However, as technology continues evolving at a rapid pace, electronic waste is growing at an alarming rate. Millions of devices are discarded every year, creating serious environmental concerns tied to pollution, landfill waste, and greenhouse gas emissions. One of the most effective ways to reduce the environmental impact of electronics is through responsible recycling. In this presentation, we will explore how recycling electronics can reduce carbon footprints, conserve resources, and support a more sustainable future. Electronic waste, often called e-waste, includes discarded devices such as computers, smartphones, televisions, printers, appliances, and other electronic equipment. As technology advances, devices become outdated more quickly, leading consumers and businesses to replace electronics more frequently than ever before. This growing volume of e-waste creates serious environmental challenges. Many electronic devices contain hazardous substances like lead, mercury, cadmium, and other toxic chemicals that can contaminate soil and water when improperly disposed of. At the same time, the entire life cycle of electronics, from raw material extraction to manufacturing and disposal, requires enormous amounts of energy, contributing significantly to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. Responsible electronics recycling helps reduce these environmental impacts while supporting long-term sustainability. Manufacturing electronics requires large quantities of raw materials and energy. Mining operations extract valuable resources such as gold, silver, copper, aluminum, and rare earth metals used in electronic components. These extraction processes often involve heavy machinery, industrial processing, and transportation systems that consume large amounts of fossil fuels. As a result, mining and manufacturing contribute heavily to carbon dioxide emissions. Environmental damage associated with mining can also include deforestation, habitat destruction, water pollution, and biodiversity loss. Once raw materials are extracted, factories require additional energy to refine metals, produce components, assemble devices, and transport products around the world. Every stage of electronics manufacturing adds to the overall carbon footprint of modern technology. Reducing the need for new raw materials through recycling is one of the most effective ways to lower these emissions. One of the greatest environmental benefits of electronics recycling is material recovery. Old electronics contain valuable materials that can be extracted and reused in new manufacturing processes. Gold, copper, aluminum, steel, silver, and rare earth elements can all be recovered from discarded devices. By reusing these materials, recycling reduces the need for additional mining operations. This has several important environmental advantages. Less mining means lower fuel consumption, reduced greenhouse gas emissions, and less environmental destruction caused by extraction activities. Reducing raw material demand also helps preserve ecosystems and natural habitats that may otherwise be damaged during mining operations. Responsible recycling allows valuable resources to remain in circulation instead of becoming waste. This supports long-term sustainability while reducing the environmental footprint associated with electronics production. Producing materials from recycled electronics requires significantly less energy than manufacturing from virgin raw materials. For example, recycling aluminum uses a fraction of the energy required to produce aluminum from raw bauxite ore. Similar energy savings apply to copper, steel, and other metals commonly found in electronics. Lower energy consumption directly translates into lower carbon emissions. When manufacturers use recycled materials, factories require less electricity and fewer fossil fuels during production. This reduction in industrial energy demand helps decrease greenhouse gas emissions throughout the supply chain. As recycling participation increases, these energy savings can create substantial environmental benefits on a global scale. Electronics recycling not only conserves resources, but also improves the overall efficiency and sustainability of manufacturing processes. Improperly discarded electronics often end up in landfills, where they create long-term environmental risks. Electronic devices break down slowly and may release hazardous chemicals into surrounding soil and groundwater over time. In addition, landfills contribute to greenhouse gas emissions through methane production. Methane is a highly potent greenhouse gas that contributes significantly to climate change. When electronics are mixed with other waste materials in landfills, environmental contamination becomes more difficult to manage. Recycling helps divert e-waste away from landfill environments. Proper recycling reduces landfill overcrowding, limits toxic leakage, and decreases methane-related environmental risks. Responsible waste management also helps preserve landfill space while protecting nearby communities and ecosystems from pollution. Electronics recycling plays a critical role in supporting a circular economy. A circular economy focuses on keeping products and materials in use for as long as possible through repair, reuse, refurbishment, and recycling. Instead of following a traditional system where products are manufactured, used, and discarded, circular systems prioritize extending product lifespans and recovering valuable resources. Functional electronics can often be repaired or refurbished for continued use. Components from older devices may also be reused in manufacturing or repair processes. By extending the lifespan of electronic equipment, fewer new products need to be manufactured, which reduces energy consumption and carbon emissions. A circular approach to electronics management supports sustainability while reducing unnecessary waste. Consumers and businesses both play important roles in reducing electronic waste and lowering carbon footprints. Individuals can help by recycling outdated electronics through responsible disposal programs instead of throwing devices away. Repairing devices, upgrading components, and extending product lifespans also reduce unnecessary waste generation. Businesses can strengthen sustainability efforts by implementing take-back programs, donating reusable equipment, and partnering with licensed recyclers for responsible processing. Organizations that prioritize recycling and sustainable electronics management can significantly reduce their environmental impact while supporting broader climate goals. Every responsible recycling decision contributes to reducing pollution, conserving resources, and lowering greenhouse gas emissions. Despite its many benefits, electronics recycling still faces several challenges. Many consumers remain unaware of proper recycling practices or available collection programs. Limited public education often leads to improper disposal methods. In some areas, recycling infrastructure remains inadequate, making access to collection centers difficult or inconvenient. Improper recycling practices also create additional concerns. Some electronic waste is processed in unsafe conditions where hazardous materials are released into the environment or workers are exposed to harmful substances. Improving public awareness, strengthening regulations, and expanding recycling infrastructure will be essential for increasing participation and improving environmental outcomes. Innovation in recyclable product design can also help make future recycling efforts more efficient and effective. Electronics recycling is more than just waste management. It is an important tool in the fight against climate change. By reducing raw material extraction, lowering energy consumption, limiting landfill waste, and supporting a circular economy, responsible recycling directly contributes to reducing carbon footprints. Creating a more sustainable future requires collaboration between governments, manufacturers, businesses, recyclers, and consumers. Every stage of the electronics lifecycle must prioritize environmental responsibility. As technology continues advancing, sustainable recycling practices will become increasingly important for protecting natural resources and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Through responsible electronics recycling, society can continue benefiting from innovation while building a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable future for generations to come. Thank you for learning more about how recycling electronics can reduce carbon footprints and support environmental sustainability. Responsible e-waste recycling helps conserve resources, lower emissions, reduce landfill waste, and protect ecosystems from pollution. For more information about responsible electronics recycling solutions, contact us today. Reach us by phone, email, or our website. Together, we can reduce carbon footprints and create a cleaner, greener future through responsible electronics recycling.